Regardless if you're a new or old player, you've likely heard about the insane changes and updates ZenlessZoneZero patch 2.0 is bringing. Whether you're a casual player trying to get ready for one of the most game-changing patches ever, or if you're a veteran looking to go all in on new characters like Yixuan or Jufufu, today's guide will walk you through everything you need to do before the update drops. With this, if today's video helped or if you learned something new, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Here's everything you need to know about ZZZ's 2.0 patch before the new update goes live. Let's start with story because it's more important than ever going into 2.0. First things first, make sure you've completed Season 1 Chapter 2. That's the bare minimum required to unlock the new story skip feature, and without it, you're going to be forced to manually progress or sit through old content, even if you really just want to see what's going on in Season 2. Why does this matter though? Well, first, every version of ZenlessZoneZero rewards you with free pulls just from completing the story. Additionally, if you haven't completed all the side stories, you're also leaving potential pulls wasted before 2.0 comes out. Now, while none of this is necessary to enter Season 2 of ZenlessZoneZero, this amount of premium currency being overlooked could very well be the difference between you missing or having someone like Jufufu or Yixuan. In addition to this, finishing these quests also give extra dennies and upgrade resources, which are really important for actually building the characters once you've pulled them. Next, we have to talk about limited time events. To get prepped for 2.0, you'll want to go through every single tab and make sure all ongoing events are fully cleared. This includes daily login events, time limited missions, seasonal shop currencies, everything. Most of these won't carry over into the next patch, and the resources that they give, whether it's polychromes, W engine chips, materials in general, are going to be especially important prior to their release in 2.0. Now, of course, this also includes finishing your current battle pass, and even if you don't plan on buying it, the free rewards from the battle pass give a ton of value. With this, if you've already bought the pass, you should definitely make sure to hit the final tiers so that you're not leaving any potential rewards in the past, and of course, that also includes the free W engine that you would have received if you hit level 30. While we're on the topic of redeeming, however, you should make sure to redeem all potentially active version codes, and while some, like creator codes, last varying amounts of time, the important thing to know here is that most codes are notorious for expiring without warning, so make sure to do it now while you still have it fresh in your memory. Next, we have the current pre-register event for 2.0. Regardless if you're a first-time or veteran player, this web activity has plenty of rewards that will help for the next version launch. Once visiting the site, you'll be prompted to complete a daily fortune minigame that will provide you with either free polychromes or the potential to win other significant prizes. But now, while I wouldn't say the chance for you to win things like an iPhone 16 here are amazing, it is worth mentioning that the free polychromes or even the chance to win 800 polychromes will help should you win either. The Ellen figure also looks pretty cool. Moving on to pre-farming, let's break down what you should and shouldn't be doing with your stamina before 2.0 hits. Start by focusing on the more universal materials. Level up materials for your W engine or agent, dennies, element-based skill chips, and of course any ascension materials that you can will always be useful. However, keep in mind that with characters like Yixuan, there are certain resources that you won't be able to farm, as things like rupture chips or even things like core passive materials will not be available to pre-farm prior to 2.0's release. That said, you will want to have enough resources to at least level her and unlock her core passive, both in terms of denny and cost, on day one, so keep this in mind when you're deciding what to use your energy on. The other most important thing to note here is actually in regards to pre-farming for gear. Now, while some will argue that farming for the newest set of gear is best when it comes to characters like Yixuan, there is some context that's necessary here for this conversation. First, farming for gear before you reach a certain internet level will feel wasteful since quality and quantity of discs is upgraded when progressing to higher ranks. Because of this, it's often recommended to upgrade a single or a few usable sets of gear at the start of the game, but really no more than this. With the extra energy that you'll then have, it's more efficient to spend this on things like farming out character or ascension materials so that you're less likely to deal with RNG or waste your value from your energy. That said, once you reach internet level 40, which gives you guaranteed gold disc drives, or level 50 for a chance of 3 gold discs per drop, farming for discs becomes much more worthwhile and less of a scam. However, assuming you are past this point, we need to actually talk about the new gear sets. First, Yixuan performs best with said new disc drives, but in addition to this, the new stun set is also amazing and typically best in slot with every single dazer that currently exists. As a result, saving energy or ether batteries to farm out a decent set can be a great option since it provides both disc drives for the upcoming new DPS and also yields good disc drives that can be used on older existing agents too. That said, there are some people that would argue that pre-farming or using old disc drives is sufficient, as admittedly there is only roughly a 9 to 15% 10% difference in DPS depending on the disk drive, and if you're playing the game casually, this might not mean much to you. In summary, though there are valid reasons for both sides, it is objectively true that pre-farming for a disk drive set that isn't the new one for Yixuan or even for any Dazer will simply not be their best option. Additionally, given that both sets are usable for either the newest character, who many will be pulling for, or for older agents that still have value like Lighter, Trigger, etc., farming for these new disk drives is not the worst, especially all things considered. Now let's talk about what most players care about, their gacha currency. If you're thinking about pulling for Hugo or Lighter, take a step back unless you really need either of these characters for team synergy. Lighter, for instance, is fantastic with certain characters like Evelyn or Astra, but if you already have a functioning team, there's no urgent reason to spend right before two huge banners drop. That brings us to Yixuan and Astra. These are premium, high-value DPS and buff units that have a high chance of performing well in the meta going forward, and if you want to future-proof your account, save every single pull that you can. Now, though this was also mostly covered in the previous topics above, this again means clearing your dailies, buying the monthly pulls in the paid shop if you care for it, and finishing any incomplete Deadly Assault or Shiyu defense encounters before it resets. On that note, it's also a decent idea to start farming for units that pair well with the 2.0 cast ahead of time. Even if you don't plan on using them immediately, characters that pair well with Yixuan or Astra will see a lot of value soon. Here are some of the key names to prioritize. Pulchra, especially if she's M6, pairs very well with Yixuan's off-field game plan. Lucy is also a character who's pretty decent to prioritize, as she doesn't really spend much time on field, she gains increased value from the low field time that she has, and also provides crit plus attack buffs depending on your mindscapes. Next, we have Trigger, who, though sometimes lacking her additional ability, also pairs amazingly because of her daze synergy, low field time like Pulchra and Lucy, and strong general stun damage buff. Next, we have Caesar, who's a fantastic protective / defensive option for the team, while also buffing the lineup's attack plus damage percent, but keep in mind again that this character does only buff a single character's attack. And finally, we have Astra. If you already had prior to 2.0's release, will definitely be an amazing buffer and quick assist provider to Yixuan, who makes use of both amazingly. Overall, with these characters, you'll definitely want to level their core passives and also increase or further invest in the ability that provides scaling to any buffs that they provide. For characters like Lucy, this is her EX special, and for a character like Astra, this also includes her EX too. Finally though, you will also want to at least get the correct main stat and a usable 4-piece plus 2-piece combo for their disk drives, but of course, this is just in regards to upgrading and leveling characters before 2.0 releases. Now let's actually break down the maintenance, starting with the pre-patch maintenance specifically. With this, you'll definitely want to be as efficient as possible, and because of it, the number one thing you need to remember with ZenlessZoneZero's 2.0 patch is that before maintenance, you should definitely avoid your stamina overcapping. This could mean spending it in the morning before downtime hits, and in case you were curious about when maintenance starts, it normally begins around 6 p.m. EST the afternoon / evening before. This then ends 5 hours after, but with this, you need to make sure that any energy that otherwise would have overcapped while maintenance lasts is of course used or expended in some way, shape, or form. And of course, as is normally the case, you should also make sure to pre-download patch 2.0 to avoid waiting or any other issues that could arise on day one of a new patch. Finally, this is your last reminder to claim absolutely everything: battle pass rewards, daily missions, timed events, and mailbox goodies. Once the update hits, there's a good chance that some of these will disappear, especially in the case of some unclaimed shop currencies or login milestones. But finally, let's talk about the actual launch rewards and what you can expect post-patch. Between anniversary rewards, login bonuses, story clears, and version launch freebies, you can expect roughly 22,000 polychromes across the version. This is absolutely huge. Even with bad luck, this accounts for just shy of 2 full pities, and if there's any justice in this world, you won't be double pitying back to back. That said, Yixuan, Pan Yinhu, and Astra are the first 3 characters of relevance dropping once 2.0 releases, and if you haven't already decided prior, I would definitely encourage you to take a look at either my Yixuan or Pan Yinhu team guides, or wait a few days after 2.0 releases when I'll be releasing full guides and worth it evaluations for all 3 characters. That's it though. This was everything you needed to do before ZenlessZoneZero's newest patch releases, and as a reminder guys, if this guide helped you prep or gave you some new reminders, be sure to drop a like, sub, or comment down below, and as always, thanks for watching and good luck on your pulls. Stay safe, stay healthy everyone. Good night.